Hi, Peter Allen, Figure Transformations, and what we're going to work on today is a shoulder and back workout. We're going to mix in a little bit of legs. Now you could swap it out for core if you wanted to, but what we're going to work on today is kind of getting our shoulders moving and elicit big movement patterns, as well as kind of work the other, basically your lats, your rhomboids as well through this workout, and then again try and promote some stretching of the fascia through the hips and the hamstrings. So first we're going to start with dumbbells, and it's pretty much what we're going to use. Make sure you have light enough dumbbells. I'd rather have you using a light pair than something kind of too heavy, even myself included, kind of on light today so I can show this video. So going on shoulder shrug first. I'll hold the weights at my side. The wrist should not be curled, the wrist should be straight. Core tight, pulled in, maybe even leaning slightly forward just a little bit. One of the things that I'm going to start trying to promote more is kind of that leaning forward. Now we're going to shrug straight up and down. Keeping the core drawn in as best you can. Again, the other big thing is my head should not move through this motion pattern. All too often people are bringing their head forward. So straight up and down. Pressure's on the pointer finger when I'm holding these weights. Again, I'm not curled in. Looking for about 15 to 20 of these. Really slow on the way down. Take your time. Again, we're just trying to get these guys moving. That's the big thing, is we're trying to facilitate movement pattern through everything. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into a row. So when we do these rows, we want to kind of hinge over, keeping the core pulled in. Again, my weight slightly forward on the balls of my feet. And I'm going to go double row. So first I'm going to go wide. So I'm coming out to the sides. Should be about 45, just like if you're doing a chest press, basically. Okay. So again, I'm going to go right on these. So core tight. I'm going to hinge forward, dangling right underneath my chest, and I'm pulling out into the sides as I do this. Show you side angle. Core tight. Hinge over, let the weights hang, and I'm kind of squeezing the shoulder blades together lightly as I'm coming up. Okay. Next one we're going to do is kind of a straight leg deadlift, Romanian deadlift, kind of whatever you want, however you want to call it, think of it. So shoulder width apart on this stance. I'm going to lock the knees on this one. You could use a slight bend as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hinge. My weight's on the balls of my feet, and I'm pushing my butt back. So I'm looking for a stretch. Okay. I'm going to go light to start today. Core tight. Hinge back. Head again should be in a neutral position. A lot of times, see the head moving a lot. Just find out maybe a central location on the floor to look at. You could look up and keep your head there if you like. But again, it should be flat. Pulling with the back of my legs. Pulling with my hip, I should say. Keeping that core pulled in. Weights close to the legs. Again, same thing. Dumbbells nice and kind of straight, close to the body. If you watch one of my other videos, I think I go over hand gripping and whatnot. So we're going to go back to that first one. So we're going to shoulder shrug, core tight, weight forward on the balls of the feet. Slight bend in the elbows. Again, if you can make it, best way to explain it is kind of make it choppy. So that's your muscles or your stabilizers kind of really working. So if I'm coming up, really working on trying to decelerate as slow as I can. You can almost feel like kind of choppiness. All too often we're kind of working our explosive movements a little bit too much. So Move back into that row. Same thing, core tight, gonna hinge over. Weight on the balls of the feet. When we're doing this again, we're coming out wide as we pull. Wide, wide. Hands stay inside the elbows, okay? Form is huge in terms of kind of mechanics when we're doing this. We go back into that straight leg deadlift. So again, 10 to 15 reps. You need a breather, take a breather, pause the video, whatnot. So straight leg. Again, same thing when you pick up the dumbbells. A lot of times I see people using good form when they're exercising, but a lot of times when they want to pick things up is really where kind of the bad form kind of creeps back in. Think about it, how you do it when you don't think about it. That's how you're lifting all too often. I'm going to hinge in, spreading my feet, pulling them apart if you will. Inhale all the way down. Exhale all the way up. Inhale all the way down. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Take a breather if you need it. We're going to do one more set of each, and we'll move on to the next set of exercises. Slight bend in the elbows. Core tight, shrugging straight up and down. This is also going to help improve hand strength, wrist and forearm. Usually I'm doing this with a barbell, but for today's purposes, using the dumbbells. Again, watch that head. Head should not be moving. Ideally, if you can, what I recommend is being able to see yourself in a mirror. It's so much easier and so much better. A lot of times you think you're in one position, and even myself included, I'm checking myself while I'm doing this to make sure that my posture is good. We're going to go into those rows. Okay, same thing, core tight. I'm going to hinge over, pull it in, hinge back, going out wide. Down slow, keep that core pulled in, head in neutral. Don't force the reps either too much. You don't have to. So if you feel like you're starting to get tired, settle for 10. You know, really anywhere between that 8 and 15 rep range is fine. You know, you can go as high as 20. The big thing is quality over quantity, okay? Last but not least, we're gonna go back into that straight leg. Same thing when you're picking up the dumbbells. I want to hinge over nice and close to me. So I'm using the same form I would when I'm doing an exercise than when I'm not. Now if you need to kind of put these on something, that's fine. Put them on a riser or something so they're not as high. Ideally we're coming to mid-shin level here. Coming back up. I tend to bring my weights up to the side. You could leave them here. Just know it puts a little more stress and strain on the lower back. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Good. Move around a little tight today in my hips. All right, next set exercise. So we're going to do, really be careful on this one. We're going front out, all the way up, and we're going extension. Okay, and we're coming back down. You gotta work that deceleration, keep that shoulder complex kind of really compact and tight. So, you know, use a weight that you're comfortable with. It's not an exercise you want to be throwing around heavy weights. So my core is pulled in, going front out raise, all the way up, and I drive. And I bring it back down to the socket and coming back down. Excuse me. Other arm, up, extend, down, socket, coming down. And repeat. Should be stabilizing with the opposite side, okay? So if I'm going up with my right, I'm stabilizing with my left, driving, down, down, now I'm going right, stabilize, drive, down, down. Can't stress the importance of range of motion, side angle, core tight, up, drive, down, down, up. Head stays in neutral. You want to make sure that, again, the weight is light enough that you're making that transference to the front delt, okay? Arm is not locked, has a slight bend when we're going up through this motion. A lot of times, myself included, a few months really tight here, so I'd have to try and hyper arch. You're better off maybe stopping just a little bit short or shy, or again, trying a little bit lighter of a weight. So we're going to go back to the row. What we're going to do is kind of a straight, kind of close row. Now, if you got a rowing machine, you can do it that way too. Just again, kind of using the dumbbells. I feel like everybody's got a set of them if they're watching these videos. So when we do kind of a similar row, elbows to hips, okay? Hands inside, not going outside. If you're going outside, we're kind of looking more at a tricep movement. You want to hinge over, weights up, core tight. Now I'm going to bring my weights close together and pull them apart. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So hinge and pull apart. So back's at about a 45-degree angle here. Okay. Pull. You can go flatter. It just gets harder as you get flatter. So depending on the weight that you're using, dictates the movement. If you're worried about form, I'd rather you go one at a time and watch yourself in the mirror. Okay. Sometimes that left arm's a little bit weaker. You might struggle with the movement pattern a little bit more. So we're going to go back to kind of that Romanian deadlift, kind of a similar version, if you will. So what I'm going to do, instead of going straight leg, I'm going to go bent. I'm going to run straight down those shins. Now I'm going to drive a little bit. Okay, first one we're stiff and hinging. This one's a little bit more of a bend. Oh, actually, you know what? So we can do this one. I'm going to show you one actually I'm going to do. I'm going to bend and up. And up. What I wanted to do actually is I want to work my one leg. So I'm going to balance on my left leg, hinge or kind of martial arts position. Okay, bend knee. From here, I'm going to go down. I'm going to work my balance. Same side. There goes my balance. Now you could go toe touch too. I'm kind of coming slightly in front of me. Side angle. Oh, I lost it there. That's horrible. There we go. These aren't the best shoes for this one. Okay, right side. Now I've been working on my hips and I can tell my hips are extremely tight for this. And that's what throws my balance off the most here. You can feel the hip popping out to the side, I believe. This is why I realized that the importance of loosening with the hypervolt in terms of the glutes and the hips. Now mine's improved tremendously, but I realize now, just how tight those hips get and how they're restricting my movement, especially my glute. I could always balance. I used to do Bolster balls, all that stuff, but I realized again what was really happening to me. All right, going back, front delt, That's another way to do it too. It does stabilize you a little bit better if you run it with a weight. Front delt, coming up, drive, 1, up, 5, 2. Because these are a little bit longer, only run about 10 repetitions, 2, 2. Really what I wanted to do these for mostly is this movement here, this drive. Because I realized I'm really lacking this motion pattern. And again, I believe a lot of people are too, in terms of exercises we do. We tend not to challenge certain areas of the body. So now we're going back into that row, okay, bent over, hinged over row. Go straight on, hinge over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I probably gotta do that a little bit slower, work that deceleration process. I'm gonna go back to that hinge or kind of deadlift, one of the two. I'm gonna use the dumbbells. I noticed it's a little bit better, not the best shoes. Maybe I can take your shoes off. Oh yeah, much better. Something you can do too, I'm trying not to, but balance a little bit. Use that leg to stabilize me. Let me come back up. That side. We only did about 8 on that side. Shouldn't be counting. 1, 2. Feel my hips so tight. Oh, 1 more maybe. 5. 6. Lost it there. Last one. Oh, lost my balance. It's been a while since I did one of those. Oh, it's good though. All right. One more set. We get the over to the row. This is good. It shows me my tightness. Because again, everything I'm doing is all documented in terms of I work with the percussion gun and then these workouts. So I haven't done any workouts outside of my recordings here, and taking quite a few months off of working out, honestly. So I was trying to understand just what happens to our body as it tightens. And I'm amazed at how tight our fascia gets over time. And now I understand what needs to get done. Wow, that's cheating. In terms of loosening the fascia to get us moving better with exercise and with percussion. So again, that's why I'm doing that reaching exercise. 1, to kind of see where I'm at, stabilizing. And 2, because it's movement patterns I had kind of thought away from. I was doing a lot of kind of 2-arm, 2-leg exercises. And I realized the folly that I wasn't working my full range of motion. transformation balance too. So I go on my opposite side, but have this fully extended. But I could use this, stay a little bit more stable in my hip, and allow me to see it. Oh, there goes that hip. So again, it's a perfect example of what happens to the body with the angles. Now I know without a doubt, without doing the percussion training, I could fix it and kind of make it better, but I'm only masking the problem, and eventually it's going to start to show up. And again, when I'm doing this, you can feel my knee kicking. My hip is just too tight to stay up. It just won't stay there. So all this tissue right on the outside is restricting, it's throwing me off balance. Now a lot of us just kind of think balance, just got to keep trying at it. And where that does help, it does improve without a doubt. If we want to really fix the movement pattern, then we want to dig a little deeper. All right, we did. Coming over, I want to go rear delt fly. So when we do this, we're coming up and we're coming out. Okay, we could go kind of just a butterfly too, or we could rotate it. You see, heavier weights than I would have liked. So same thing, that hinge. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to do lateral delts. I was going to do this one at a time now I think about it. It's a better movement. So I'm coming here, and I'm coming out. Stabilize on my right, up with my left. A little bit of weight shift, right, left, coming back. 1, 3. So I'm using a little bit of momentum, but really what I'm doing is going for the bigger movement, okay? Normally I run these from here, but what I'm trying to design is exercises or patterns that elicit bigger movements. Now we want to make sure we're using a light enough weight, or again, I guess you could say I'm using a little bit more momentum to get up there, okay? But we want to be able to control it on our way down. Shouldn't necessarily be able to stop it. So that's where I was going to go into the other one. So that was lateral, excuse me, lateral delt. Now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go both actually. And I'm coming up. So this is hitting both rear delt and my mid back. Side for you guys. Anywhere I can, 10 to 15, I only did 10. Now for the leg one, what I'm really going to do is, because I'm just kind of looking for stretching today, I'm going to hinge over all of the feet. You know, I notice my right hamstring extremely tight today. And that's what I'm trying to kind of focus on. Because I notice, you know, both my hamstrings need to get stretched, especially my right. My right for years, because of my right hip issue, has become extremely tight. Again, it was masked for years, didn't even notice it. You know, when I was doing martial arts, it did start to notice it there. Reach a little bit further. So we're going back, front delt, come across. 1, 2, core tight, pulled in. Right view. See my hips creeping on me. Okay, other side. When I do this too, coming off and on, this is why I wanted to show side angle. Tight. I'll give you one second. I'm going into that stretch. Core tight to start. Hinging over, balls to the feet. Reaching for the toes. I'm going a little bit closer on my stance. And this is the thing I'm talking about too, like, you know, much more flexible in my hips now. Usually be my hamstrings. Let me lock it up a little bit. There we go. That would restrict me. I didn't notice it wasn't completely locked out the way it should have been. But a couple months ago, I couldn't even reach my toes. So in a way, I'm kind of going from a deconditioned place right now, in my opinion, where I haven't been working out the past few months because I've been just focused on the percussion therapy. One at a time. So this will be good, in my opinion, in terms of documentation of kind of starting from the bottom again. This hip wants to creep so bad. And, you know, my left arm is weaker. And that's one of the reasons why it's doing it. So this side, real easy. Real easy. But it's a, you know, thing that I personally really wanted to understand, and this will definitely help me, is how much our hips come into play. So my arm's a little weaker, so I'm trying to want to turn my body. And same thing too though, that this hip is weaker. It's probably one of the reasons why I know I'm turning that hip, kind of trying to make that happen the way it is. Because again, they feed off each other. In terms of what we do. And I probably should be doing this one at a time, just so you know, because I wouldn't if we did an alternate exercise, but for time's sake. So this is hard. You could do the same thing. 1, 2, switch to the other side. And just so you know, well, like, that was probably a little on the heavy side for 1. So if I do 1, I'm going to drop the weight a little bit on that movement pattern. If I do 2, I can go a little bit heavier, I can work that momentum. A little bit of different muscle structure coming in when we do that. Okay, last but not least, let's go back into that stretch. And then what I'm going to do is, if anybody wants to watch a short on kind of the percussion therapy in terms of what you want to be doing afterwards. I'm going to try and stick to the upper body, even though I'll do my hamstrings on my own. You know, good thing to note or think of. I was trying to figure it out for years. Or not figure it out, but it's kind of dawned on me. Hamstrings, they're just like strings. They get so tight over time as we progress in age. And if you kind of feel back there, they're really stringy, hence the name strings. But they should be like any other muscle tissue. They should be relatively smooth. But it just shows you how the kind of cables form and they start to pull on the hip bone, back of the knee, start to change things. So what I'm going to do, because I work most of my delt, upper trap, so this is probably kind of loose. I might do this later on in the day. Again, sometimes this stuff's going to be sore too after. But if you usually turn on a high enough speed, it doesn't really, you know, it actually feels, again, good. You know, and that's what I'm trying to do this for. Is I'm trying to loosen this tissue, keep it moving. So I'm noticing a little bit too hard and tight in here right now. So what I'm going to do is come back to my lat. I'm just going to follow my lat line. reach a little bit. Get up underneath that shoulder blade. That's where I noticed a lot of my dense scar tissue in my back, leading up into the armpit area. Again, I just want to hold a lot of times. I just want to kind of sit there. Now, a little bit different after a workout. Again, the tissue's going to kind of move. I might stretch it a little bit further. Hold. You can feel it reaching, able to get a further, bigger movement pattern here. On the other side, I'll check in here. But yeah, just like I kind of thought. You can feel it's really tight and knotty in here right now. Never should be uncomfortable. Okay, the workouts maybe, but working with a percussion gun, the areas that are tender or hard are because, or tender I should say, is because the fascia is tight and excited there. And that's the areas that are kind of working too much. What we want to do is facilitate better movement in the opposing muscles. So in this case, we'd be getting a lot. I'm going to check my trap too in a minute. And the other thing I'm going to do is later on tonight, I'm going to check all the same areas. I'm going to come up underneath the clavicle area, top of the trap, levator, and shrugging that shoulder up. Again, trying to promote stretching. It could come up in here. I got to start playing around with the different attachments after exercise. Most of the stuff I've been doing is without exercise at all. So this might change. I know what I'm thinking. As time goes on, really what I find. That's one good thing about me over the years. I've learned to adapt and change and kind of understand when something isn't working right, or finding an issue with it, that being able to admit that wasn't the best idea. And that's why, again, I've spent extensive amount of time researching all this on my own body. So again, first it's been without exercise. Now I'm just starting to get back into the workout aspect of it. And all the workouts are going to be reflective upon what's needed to better promote our health or fascia moving better, and kind of trying to figure out kind of the best bigger exercise. A lot of us are kind of going for these certain ones that are promoting maybe more strength or more power, which is fine, and it's great if you're younger too. But as we age, we got to kind of start to understand our bodies a little bit better and what works better, and gets us the best results and keeps us able to do the things that we want to do. All right, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Look forward to the next one. Thank you.